I am back, and thank you so much for patiently waiting. This is video number 4. I was actually away on vacation, my cruise vacation, and we got to visit my home country of Haiti and also Dominican Republic right next door. Those were a couple of our stops. And so I may appear a little tanner than before. The sun was just super hot, okay? All right, so before I go into the tornado, I like to call it a tornado, a hurricane, maybe, of what the universe, actually tornado is stronger because it was really intense, of what the universe had put me through, or I should say what I put myself through, really, because of the amount of resistance that I had with the universe. But before I go into that part of my twin flame experience, I'm going to first talk about the karmic soulmate, okay? And so this person had a really strong hold on my heart. And it wasn't my ex-husband, who is also a karmic soulmate. It was not my high-level soulmate. This person, our connection felt very much like twin flame and had me feeling confused. And so if you've had an experience like that, you will know it makes you question. Like, I was questioning, who was my twin flame really, even though I felt like I really knew, but the universe had confirmed it to me. But by then, I was about 2 years deep in with this man. And we had our history, and I had moments of blocking and unblocking him. And whenever I unblocked him, he would come back as if nothing happened. And I'm like, don't you notice? And things like that. But it was only really because of the intensity that he was feeling, that he said he really couldn't control. He felt like he had no control of himself, where our conversations was mostly like him talking about his feelings and how much he felt about me and that kind of stuff. And I really wanted a more deeper connection. I wanted other types of topics and that kind of stuff, like the kind of experience that I had with my twin flame, I wasn't getting from him. And it just felt really frustrating that we weren't talking about other things and stuff like that. There might have been other reasons, but this was the main one that I can think of, where I was just like, I can't, like, there wasn't anything satisfying about that. And I can remember he would say things like, I really wish you feel the same way. I wish you saw me the way I see you. And I was like, I didn't open so much because my twin was always in the back of my mind. But I was like, I actually do have these strong feelings, but I have to call it a push energy. The push energy that came from him just made it really hard for me to reciprocate that. And then later, when he was able to control it, it just felt better. But I do have to say, the universe was just like, warning, warning, you're going down the wrong path. And I had about 3 different nightmares, okay? 3 different nightmares. And I'm not going to go into the nightmares because of the energy that's connected with it. So it's like every time I think about repeating what the nightmares are, the energy, no. So I'm not going there. But the universe was showing me different aspects of myself. They were showing me how I believe too much in the illusion, okay? So there were the nightmares, and there was also a cartoon. And I forget which one it was. It might have been the one with the Bullwinkle character. And I can remember there was a person in that cartoon, like, whenever you get messages from cartoons and music, I'm telling you, it's almost like you're not paying attention at all until something sticks out and it grabs your attention. So that's what happened. And this character was like, this character was like, all I had to do was say some nice things and I got this person hooked. And I was like, why does it feel like there's a significance in this message and stuff like that? So I had other messages similar to that. And when I told the universe, I was like, stop it with the dreams, okay? They went for someone I knew. And they went for my oldest. And then she was just like, my oldest daughter, she was like, I had a nightmare with you in it. And I was like, oh my goodness, universe. And so it was a nightmare that just showed me how gullible I am, because I was truly someone, well, in the past, that would just give people benefit of the doubt. I would give them the benefit rather than questioning them at first and having them earn my trust and stuff. This was who I was, and the dream was showing that. And I just got tired of these dreams showing how naive I could be and so on, all right? And so, yeah, so I had the warning. But just like with twin flame, you hear the messages, this person is the one for you, and they have you blocked, and they're not talking to you, they're not responding to your messages, and so forth. So it made it really hard to believe. The same thing was happening with this person. So I had these nightmares. His higher self would tell me, you know what, don't worry about me, don't choose me, choose your twin flame. But when I looked at him in the physical, I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of it. It was really hard to piece the two together. And so here I am dealing with two situations where my intuition is telling me stuff, and neither one of them looked the way that I was hearing it. Neither one. Just didn't know what to believe. All right. And so, boy, so here's how it began to unravel. All right. So the universe was just like, go to the store. There was constant go to the store. And this store had pharmaceutical products. And so I would receive a message, your medication is ready, and so forth. Your medication is ready, all right? So at the time, my asthma was starting to act up. Like, I don't have asthmatic symptoms often, but in this moment, it was beginning to act up. And so my inhaler was ready. And I would go to the store. I was getting constant messages to go to the store. The universe was just not leaving me alone. Even my daughter would be like, oh, can you go buy something? Like, constantly. It was all over the place. But I do want to tell you, with my inhaler, it would be like a few days later or a week later, go pick up your prescription. I'm like, wait a second. I already picked up my prescription. So I picked it up, and then again, your prescription is ready. I'm like, how is this happening? How is this happening? Because normally with this type of prescription, I could be wrong. If you work for a pharmaceutical company, then you know if I'm wrong or not. The insurance wouldn't even cover it until like a month later or something. There had to be a gap. And who is renewing these prescriptions? I don't even know. The thing was just constantly, your prescription is ready, go get it, your prescription is ready. Everywhere, the signs were everywhere to keep going to this store. And at first, it was okay, you know. I go in there, my legs, guys, I'm telling you, I had no legs. I was shaking, I was wobbly, and things like that. I had to collect myself when he was around. And it just really goes to show how this connection works. I told myself I have to have a box of tissue here, because some parts of the story will just have me crying. And so the love that is there for someone I barely knew. At the time, I really still didn't know him in the physical like that. But the intensity, the love, and it was a lot. And so looking at, I would say, my other self and that kind of stuff, it was a lot. But I collected myself, okay? I was able to go in there and strike up little conversation and things like that, okay? So at first it was going okay. And we would have little conversations. And then eventually I asked for us to exchange phone numbers to reconnect. And then I was just, I was in awe at how everything was going. It seemed to be going okay, but I was still shaky. I was still nervous. I felt like I didn't have legs to stand on, okay? And so I felt like I'm working with the universe, okay? The universe is guiding me. And there were times the universe was like, send him a message. And I was like, oh my God, how do I do that? I was so nervous. And just to send the message and hit send, it felt like I was pushing against a mountain. I was sweating and things like that, but I would send the message and he would respond, and which made it nice and that kind of stuff. It helped me out because I was freaking out on the inside about this, okay? And so the universe pretty much had me chasing. There was constant messages about going to the store, you need to go. I would listen, but I would go over there freaking out on the inside, okay? I was like, universe, I do not chase. And so they had me chasing. And eventually what started to happen is that my twin started to appear to run. He was shaking and he looked like he didn't want to be there when I showed up. This is what I was seeing, okay? So the universe will bring me to the store and then I would see him run, and I started to cry about it. I would leave the store like, why am I being tortured? This is pure torture. I can't do this, okay? And then there was the messages again. You guys send a text message and so forth. So I would send the text message and I would ask for us to have a conversation. And there was always no as a response. No, not in this moment or something like that. And I started to feel rejected. All right. So still go to the store, go to the store. This was happening. Okay. And it was intense pressure. The universe had put so much pressure on me to show up, and I did not want to be there. So I would go there like, why am I here? And so forth. Okay. And then there's more that the universe was doing with me. In the moments where I was in intense pain over this whole thing and I'm crying because all I can think about, all I remember from this connection was the rejection, the feeling of being rejected. And this is where I discovered, if whatever reason that was there when you and your twin flame parted, if it's unhealed, it makes reunion difficult. This was unhealed for me, that feeling of being rejected. And so I'm in my bed crying, and the universe is like, you've got to remember. You've got to remember the happy days. And they would instill memories of when everything was really good. And they were like, you've got to remember, 𝐏𝐿. You have to choose your twin flame. These were the messages that I was getting. You have to do this. You have to do that. And I had so much resistance in me because the only memory I had was feeling rejected and so forth. So when I went to the store, same thing was happening. And with the text messages, same thing was happening. Rejection all over the place. And I can remember this one time while I was there and I'm thinking, I don't want to be here. I heard his voice intuitively from across the way where he said, why is she here? And that was just like, oh, that hurt. That hurt. It took me some time. I would say several months go by of this whole yo-yo tornado thing the universe had me going through until I began to put two and two together. And I was like, wait a second. He's showing me. I was just like, oh my goodness, this whole time he's showing me. So whenever I would go into the store and I'm like, I don't want to be here and I'm shaking and all this kind of stuff, he would mirror that. And so once I discovered that, and I was like, you know what? I'm creating this. And I decided to do a small meditation, just like a relaxation thing, and clear my mind, There's a phrase that I came up with and I'll share with you guys. I'm open and ready to receive. And it changed so much. It was like instant, okay? The moment I saw the mirror and I truly understand what was happening here, but I still had some more things to learn. I still had some negative thinking and that kind of stuff. It was a process, but it changed things. And when I went into the store, rather than him running, he came towards me and he stayed with me and walked around the store. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And things began to improve, okay? Things were starting to turn around and they were feeling better and so forth. But this is another thing I learned about this connection, okay? Oh my goodness, I learned so much with all my connections, all my relationships and stuff like that have really shaped me to where I am currently, okay? I didn't have patience for it. It was moving too slowly. And Mr. Casanova over there, false twin flame or whatever the case, was still in the picture, was in and out of the picture. And whenever he came back in, you know, at this point, I was trying to do everything to like get him out of my field, my energetic field. But whenever he came back, it was just like all over again. And I was like, I'm choosing this one and that kind of stuff. Okay. And I have to say, it was a lot harder than I'm making it seem right now, because there were times I would cry to the universe. I would look up in the sky. I would look at the stars. I love looking at the stars. And it helped me feel connected and stuff. Between that and the beach close to my home, being near the waters and that kind of stuff, helped me really feel connected with the universe. So I would look up at the sky and I would tell the universe, why are you doing this to me? Why are you torturing me? I don't want any of this. You're choosing this for me. You know, I was in resistance with my connection, with my twin flame connection. I was in resistance with my mission because at that time I was posting things and so forth. I wasn't really attracting clients. I didn't have clients coming in, and I really wanted to be able to help. I wanted to do what my purpose was, but none of this was really unfolding. And so here I am just yelling at the universe, like, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. You choose this life for me. I did not choose it. Okay. Of course, the universe didn't give up on me, obviously. And so I started doing this crazy yo-yo thing, really. I was like, you know what, universe, I'm choosing this person. You chose my twin flame. You can have him, okay? Have him. I'm over here. And one thing I noticed, I know it sounds wrong. It sounds wrong, and I truly get it. Maybe some of you out there are like, I'm pissed off at 𝐼𝐻𝐻 for this. But I was very much in the 3D. I was so much in the physical, even though I was learning to trust my intuition and to really be one with it. What was happening in the physical was just, and perhaps you understand this, when you look in the physical, it doesn't look like what my intuition was telling me. It was really hard to piece the two together and so forth. I was still feeling like this person just does not want me and so forth. And it was a struggle for me. And this whole chasing thing that the universe had me doing was really hard. And so I would say, you know what? I'm choosing this one. And then things seemed like they didn't really go well for me. Okay. And so then I was like, okay, I choose my twin. Everything started aligning. This is where I began to make the connection about what this really was about. And it was about my path, because this one here was not in alignment, whereas my twin was. And so once I made that shift, everything was going naturally. It was still hard to believe. It was still a slow process. My intense pull towards the karmic was there, and it was really hard to resist. And I can remember this one particular time, I was like, I'm choosing him, okay? And I went back to the store. It was like everything shifted in that instant with my twin, and our connection felt weird. Everything that we had built up, that I felt that we had built up, where the connection was feeling better, it was like neither one of us knew how to be around each other. And I was like, does he know? It seems like he knows. And I'm like, am I manifesting this, or he knows? I saw the pain in him, okay? He didn't communicate it. I was able to see the pain. And I was like, what am I doing? All right. And I may be mixing the story up a bit, but there was one time with this whole feeling of being rejected, when I had messaged him, can we have a conversation? And I can remember telling myself, reject me one more time, I'm done. One more time, I'm done. I cannot take this rejection, okay? And that was exactly what had happened. So again, nothing. An excuse, all right? And I took about, I didn't know how to respond. I didn't want to give the wrong response. And I wanted to go into my feelings, but at that time I still didn't really quite know how to do that. That's gonna come later. And so I wind up just texting, okay. And that was it for me. I walked away. That was it. I cried my ass off for the next 3 months. But I was like, I can't take this anymore. All right. And then soon enough, he wound up leaving the store. He moved on. And at the time, I was like, you know what? I can't see the pain that this connection, I can't see the pain that my actions were causing him. And so therefore, I'm free, okay? I'm thinking I'm just simply free. Yes, I was in my selfish mind at the time, but the universe was going to show me all of that. This was just the beginning of the amount of pain the universe will inflict to get me to wake up. And that's what the universe does when you're just blinded or keeping yourself blinded or just not yet totally in alignment. It's like one painful experience after the next, purging stuff, okay? And I'm gonna go more into that in the next video.